whatever we were doing in the past is kind of becoming obsolete now, and people are kind of willing to. So before we know this is our prospective client, the client before choosing our services does a lot of research online. And if you have written content, if you have maybe presented videos, if you're having a very good social media presence through content, your brand will have much more likability as compared to your competition brand, and you will probably have a higher chances of closing that customer than your competition if you have kind of done your content marketing well.
Welcome to the BlueCircle. It's such a big privilege and pleasure to connect with everyone and our distinguished keynote speaker, handpicked because of the input experience she brings in. Thank you also to our distinguished audience for joining us, most of whom are CEOs, CXOs, and senior leaders. Many of them are our members and are repeat visitors to our webinars. This is very encouraging and motivates us to provide even higher levels of dialogue through the online mode as well. For those of you who are new to us today, BlueCircle is the world's first sector-specific networking app for industry professionals that's built in India. We currently focus on 20 sector communities such as e-mobility, BFSI, tech, renewable energy, and many more. We also present socioeconomic insights, which ultimately determine the evolving complexion of the market. Along with our weekly webinar series and our digital publication, you will be happy to know that we have recently launched the first version of the BlueCircle app for industry professionals, somewhat like the sector-specific LinkedIn for senior leaders, a space to have meaningful conversations, connect with over 15,000 plus like-minded leaders from India and across the globe, house high-quality curated content, and access business opportunities across these sectors. Now, without further ado, I'm pleased to introduce today's keynote speaker, Ms. Darshika Singh. She is the Fintech Marketing Professional, ex-Navy, InstaMojo, and Bank of Baroda. Experienced digital and brand marketing professional with a passion for growing established brands, businesses, and scaling startups through growth marketing, delivering operational impact. 13 plus years of experience in developing omni-channel marketing strategies for high volume in the FMCG, BFSI, fintech, and mobility sector. Proficient in growth marketing, brand building, alliances, and partner marketing. You can name it all, she's all been there. So I'll leave it to that. And for today's topic, Ms. Singh will be discussing fintech marketing today and beyond, exploring best practices and strategies for growth. Now I request Ms. Singh to please begin the session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gautam. In fact, it's a pleasure to be on the BlueCircle platform. And I really like how proudly you said the Made in India angle of BlueCircle. So really, really equally proud to kind of be part of this community and kind of, express my views here today on how to go about fintech strategies for growth and beyond. So I hope I can just quickly start with a quick presentation, if that works for you all. Just allow me to share my screen and let me know if it's visible for you all.
Yep, it's visible.
It's visible. Just let me put it on slideshow. Okay, so going ahead with fintech marketing today and beyond. But before we deep dive more about fintech marketing, I thought it would be, I know that there will be a lot of experienced people from the fintech industry as well as the audience, but in the interest of people who are new to the industry or maybe planning to start something in fintech, it is very important to understand what the current landscape looks like of the fintech community. So at least from the Indian, segment, I hope you've already given a very elaborate introduction, so I'm not giving my introduction again. But yeah, I think I was fortunate enough to kind of work with Bank of Baroda in my early days of the career. And back then, a lot of things which are now, driving huge revenue and which are like, big billion industry, like say digital lending and all. I've got, I was just fortunate enough to work on certain of these products very early in my career when fintech was just a name heard by only a very few companies, like say Razorpay, Lending Card. These were only few companies which were back then existing, and not like, today where we have so many, almost I think 160 unicorns in the fintech space all over the world. I'll quickly run you all through the things which we would cover today. So we'll start with fintech landscape, then we'll come to what fintech marketing is. Within the fintech marketing, there could be different strategies for B2B as well as B2C. We'll slightly deep dive into those and what does the future of fintech marketing looks like. What are the challenges which we as a marketer face in the current landscape, and how do we ace the fintech marketing towards the end? So this will be all which we would be covering today. Let us first start with what the fintech landscape looks like. So if you ask me, with all the socio-economic developments or the technology and how the market is evolving, how the VCs are, behaving with the fintech industry. If you see any startup industry, fintech is one big industry which is definitely growing at a much higher, growth rate as compared to other. So I was just seeing and reading certain reports. It's growing at 18 to 20% of CAGR, and the market opportunity. If you just see this screen, right, it's more than 2.1 trillion, and the biggest sector which kinds of still attracts a lot of VCs and which is doing well is, of course, the lending tech. But leaving, the other sectors are, just catching up with this segment as well. So there's a lot of scope in other neo banking segment as well. Right now, I am actually working as the head of marketing for another international neo bank. So I would kind of, take you all to what does the lending tech holds, or what does the neo banking space holds in the current landscape. Apart from this also, that there's a lot more. If you say, if I have to just break the whole fintech ecosystem, I think I can break it down into payments, lending tech, investment tech, insurance tech, and then neo banking and cryptocurrency. There's one more category which you can see is more around the fintech SaaS platforms, and probably these are some of the names which you all might have heard, which gives you a very, very good understanding as to which company falls into which stack. So Paytm, a classic example, or say Razorpay, a classic example of what a fintech SaaS is, or what the payment looks like. Lending tech, I think all the BNPLs or anybody who's trying to do digital lending. So my past company, which was Navi, is again into lending, digital lending. So all personal loan lending for which we had to kind of stand in the queues for days together or hours together at the traditional banks, I think just happens now in a fraction of seconds with the simplification and with all the ease of convenience which the consumers have at a click of a button these days through lending tech. Investment tech, of course, we all have seen how Indians have started investing a lot during the last 2 years during the COVID season, and how people have started kind of adopting to digital investment. I mean, Zerodha, Grow are like a classic example of these as well. Again, insurance tech, neo banking, fintech SaaS, and I think of late the newest baby I think here is the crypto currency market, right? So yeah, let's deep dive as to what next and what can we do about the fintech marketing. I see some questions here, Gautam. So do you want me to answer it right now, or we would be taking it up towards the end?
Maybe towards the end. Maybe you would have covered it in your presentation also. So
sure. So sure, then I'll go ahead and run it through, and maybe we'll jump on the questions later. So talking about fintech marketing, I think fintech marketing, to be very honest, it's no different, right? It is the same marketing which applies to all other segment, whether it's a marketing for a D2C brand, whether it's marketing for any others industry, right? However, there are certain things which comes very unique to fintech marketing, and some things which I would say is like when each segment which I just showed you, whether it's lending tech, whether it's cryptocurrency, I think we cannot just compare everything together. There has to be some engineered strategies for each category. And if we have mastered that, probably, we've on the verge of scaling our whole marketing strategies and on the verge of getting more growth and scale for our businesses. So I will say that, towards the end of the presentation, would we have a playbook which will fit for all? The answer is no, to be very honest, right? But what we can see is that, that there's something unique which has to be crafted by all. And while we are crafting those unique strategies for all these segments which we just discussed, there will be still some overlaps, and there will be still certain commonalities which we have to leverage to kind of reach towards the end goal. And what these commonalities are very distinguished and are very unique to the fintech marketing. But let's start with what the overall objective of fintech marketing is in general, right? Any business, right? Any business, the objective of marketing is to kind of get more customers, drive growth, have a larger market share. The same applies for here as well. We need to build demand, increase our market share. We kind of have to build a customer base. We have to kind of build customer loyalty. Everything what as a marketer we should do should drive demand, should drive growth. However, fintech, many of you would feel that fintech is very boring or finance is very boring, and so it is. So it shouldn't be boring for your customers as well. So one very unique thing is, like for example, I always say that if you're marketing, say for any other company, could be Swiggy, Zomato, or any other thing, right? And you have to market a samosa, right? It is by default so interesting that you don't need to do anything, right? A samosa will look interesting. However, if the same thing you have to market, say for example, an investment product, right? Or insurance, right? Who thinks of insurance? None of us think, right? Who all are here. So to market that insurance, right? And to make it more attractive, or rather as attractive as a samosa, right? It kinds of needs a very different knack at times. And with finance, right? You have to keep a lot of factors in mind. You cannot go too humorous, because then there will be trust issues on your brand. You cannot go too quirky. You will not be sounding so credible if you do so, because it's related to finance, right? It has to be a serious plus mix of educational, plus mix of fun, plus mix of entertaining the user so that the user reads it or goes through your communication. So I would say, it's a very steady process of your user education, and it should be very focused on what you are solving for. So this is one angle which is different in fintech industry, and one of the very core objective that, while growth, demand, everything is common for all other industries, when you're doing it for finance, you have to focus a lot on customer education. And customer education, when I say, it's not just that, you write big blogs and you just just go ahead and expect your users to read that. But you have to kind of, come with very interesting propositions which can help your users understand as to what you're talking and how you're solving their problem. And then the last thing, which is very different, everything what the fintech marketers do has to be compliant from all regulatory purposes. So we cannot just jump onto and write anything and everything. There are a bunch of TNC, there are a bunch of RBI regulations. So it's not just the standard thing which comes into the place when you're launching any campaign for any other brand, but with fintech you have to be doubly sure, because you have to kind of comply with a lot of regulatory norms which are set aside for each, say for example, lending tech or the BNPL, or say for example, the cryptocurrency. There will be rules changing every now and then. We cannot just go ahead suddenly and just market anything up the go without knowing what are the compliance or the regulatory requirements from the brand side. Moving on. So like I said, while we do all the marketing, it is similar. There are like 2-3 things which comes very unique for fintech, and building trust, credibility, and reliability is extremely important for any fintech brand. And I feel majority of fintechs, right, are across the world struggling to get this. So if you see what fintech is, right, there are traditional banks which are already there in the market, who are existing from hundreds of years. Now, trust is built over years. It doesn't happen overnight, right? And the users have huge trust on these banks. Now, most of the fintech go partner with these banks. The front end is of that fintech, which the users see. But at the back end, that doubt whether my money is safe or not, at times even lending, when you are taking the money from the fintechs, right? It's not that your money is at stake. You're taking loan from a fintech, even then you are skeptical that should I go to this new brand or should I just go to the traditional banks and get things done, right? So driving trust, credibility, and reliability are three more extremely important factors for any fintech bank, no matter wherever, whichever category you belong to. That's why I've said that transparency is just not something which is like a marketing gig for the fintech. It has to be there. It has to go a very, very long way when we are talking about marketing for any fintech campaigns. Now, we have seen across, right, crypto, lending, fintech SaaS, all other big names which you just saw in the previous slides. We can basically categorize these companies into either B2C marketing or B2B marketing, right? So majority of these marketing tactics, there will be some overlap. However, there would be some unique things, or say, for example, there will be certain marketing strategies which will get you, say, 70% of your growth for B2B versus only 30% of your growth for B2C. But yeah, when you say of doing both the things, I think both the things are equally important, right? The strategy as a whole is equally important. So what basically are fintech marketing strategies? Let's start with B2C. And off late, I have kind of, as part of my job, spending so many years with fintech industry and working in partnership model or working with a lot of fintech players myself. I've done a lot of customer research and a lot of competition research as well, which kinds of boils me down to this idea that there are not many things which you have to do, but there are certain things which you should ace when you're doing this fintech marketing. So gamification is one thing, which I said, like finance could be very boring. Gamification is one thing. When it is tied with your app experience and social media mixed together, it kind of goes a long way, right? So most of the companies today, you would see they would have certain referral contests, they would have certain sweepstakes contest, they would have certain I would say leaderboard sort of a contest, wherein they kind of entice their users to come participate for those contests, be part of that. It is a very good strategy for user engagement as well. Along with that, it also helps you drive either more revenue from your existing customers, or also at times, if done well, it helps you kind of acquire new customers. Then the next very important strategy which I would recommend is to kind of leverage partnerships in your strategy, because this is one thing which creates a win-win for two brands coming together. And it's a very unique thing which doesn't involve too much of your marketing dollars, as well as results you into, say, definitely between 10 to 20% of your either user acquisition coming in through this channel, or even higher at times. It depends from sector to sector, but this is something which we should be leveraged. And there are tons of examples. Like throughout my career, I remember during my gig at InstaMojo, which is a payment gateway, we were providing payment facilities to small and medium businesses. Whenever a new company starts, they would need payment solutions. They would also need legal services solutions, right? Then there are separate startups called, Vakil Search or legaladvisory.com and many other, legal advisor startups. So a payment company can always go to the legal company and say that, hey, why don't we partner? You'll also get a new small and medium business client. I'll also get a new small and medium business client. And we can always cross-share our leads for a win-win, because ideally at the end of it, our customer needs both the solution. The only catch here when you do this, your user should have given you the consent. Like I said, it is very regulated. You cannot just pass on the data which you have of your customer to any other third party. So there are ways how you can, collect information from your customer, the consent, which allows you to kind of transfer that information to a third party and vice versa from the other partner. Content marketing, coming on to content marketing, I would have a little bit more deep dive onto this topic, but this is something which is very interesting in the current era. And this is the only strategy which kinds of, will now help brands to kind of ace their fintech marketing, because whatever we were doing in the past, uh, is kind of becoming obsolete now, and people are kind of willing to. So before we know this is our prospective client, the client before choosing our services does a lot of research online. And if you have written content, if you have maybe presented videos, if you're having a very good social media presence through content, your brand will have much more likability as compared to your competition brand, and you will probably have a higher chances of closing that customer than your competition, if you have kind of done your content marketing well. The next thing is branding, and I'm not sure if there are many startups who are here who are just starting up or an early stage startup. You might all think that branding will only come with like huge dollars or like huge VC funding, but I would say that's not correct. There are different ways how you can still brand your product or brand your company, and it all starts with day one when you start, right? So whatever, say, right from your logo designing to the colors you pick up to the way you communicate to your customers, everything has a tonality. And I would say kind of go big on your branding once you reach that scale. But if you have not reached that scale, don't ignore the branding element, because you start with something, then you'll change your positioning, then probably, and then again you will kind of mix up things. That's not right. So kind of if we've started a company, we know the reason why we are starting up, what problem we are solving, and what are the core vision and mission statements with which we resonate, right? At least it's a good practice to have this documented, because majority of your marketing messaging will be aligned around the problems which you're solving, or why the customers choose you, or what exactly is the value proposition of your startup. So I would say go big on branding when you have reached scale, but don't ignore it when you're small as well. The next thing, which is very important from a B2C perspective, is to kind of, kind of have your own customers act as your brand ambassadors. And I'll move on fast. The next is affiliates. What I mean by affiliates is, in the market, there are a lot of people who work in parallel agency. And you can just go ahead and collaborate with those people on revenue sharing or commission sharing models, wherein you don't have to build your own audience. There's somebody who's already built the audience, and you're just mining on their audience, selling your product, which is kind of meaningful to that audience. You know your audience, and if somebody has already worked and collected that audience, why not go ahead and partner with them? So for B2B marketing also, the strategies are almost similar. But what happens is, in this B2B, you leverage affiliate and partnerships a lot more. For example, let's give you a classic example. If Razorpay, right? Razorpay is a payment gateway aggregator, right? And then there is, say, for example, any affiliate or a partner who's very big, and that partner makes tons of website. He's a website maker, right? Say any company, say for example, Mantra Labs, right, is one another company which is core into website building for different startups, right? Now every startup would need payment gateway. So Razorpay can go and partner with this website making company and say, whichever website you make, you integrate my payment gateway then and there, right? And this could be on an affiliate and a partnership model. In B2B marketing, we excessively leverage email marketing now. Many people will feel that email marketing is died down, but I would say no, if you do it the right way, it is still not died down. Then we kind of leverage a lot of event marketing, networking, speaking opportunity to kind of find the right target audience. And again, content marketing, like I said, is very, very important for B2B as well. I'll just take 1 minute to kind of, tell you the importance of content marketing, right? There is a lot more which you can do. You can simplify your product, you can simplify your messaging, you can do a lot more thing from customer experience point of view, right? But tell me which fintech is not doing it. Every fintech is doing the same. So if you have to really cut the clutter and reduce the noise, right, it's the content marketing which will take you forward. You could see some of the stats here, right? 60% of people feel that consumers enjoy reading relevant content from brands, and once they read this relevant content, right, they feel more attached to your brand, right? 80%, 82% people feel closer to a company as a result of content marketing. And the traditional way of doing things was kind of have 20% you communicate your value, and rest all 80% was all sales messaging. Hey, let's go ahead and buy this product. Things have drastically changed now. We as a marketer cannot be pushy, right? So what we do is we generally communicate or deliver what is the value to the customer, what is the problem which we are solving as a fintech for the customer, and only 30% remains the sales message. That also, there are various stages in the funnel. When you see your users dropping out, probably nudge them at the right stage, which will cover in 30%. But majority of time, right, majority of time you'll only be communicating what we are solving, what we are doing, right? Going ahead, the future of fintech marketing. So I think, like I just said, fintech as a sector will be very, very competitive. You just saw a bunch of lists, right? If we talk about lending tech, there are like 15 different startups in lending tech which are solving the same problem, right? Digital lending. So it is going to be very, very competitive going forward. It will be very, very competitive. Your users will not want something that users are smart today. They what we feel, as marketing, we're doing smart marketing. I think our consumers are one step smarter than us, or a little bit more knowledgeable than us, what we think of them versus what they are, right? They do their own research in today's world. They know what's happening around them, right? And along with like competition, there will be a lot of other external challenges also coming up. Like, for example, you see the kind of turbulence the whole crypto space is seeing right now. So there will be competition, there will be turbulence from external factors, and of course the user himself is changing, the user is evolving, right? So these are a couple of factors which we will see in the future. And some of the biggest challenge, if I have to just script it down from user perspective, lack of trust. The users, any new fintech which they come in the market, will have to spend a huge amount of time in establishing that trust. Then there will be complexities, like I said, from the regulation point of view. There are already a lot of cybersecurity issues, data privacy issues which are cropping up. And what I said is just the understanding your consumers will be ever evolving. If we see our users, right, they started with coins, they switched to cards, banking, then all this Paytm and digital wallets, and now cryptocurrency. So the user is evolving, right? And they are evolving at a very fast pace. So we have to kind of match up, bring something way better to the users before they even anticipate something like that, get them used to this. Then there will be like, further challenges which I foresee is because with all the economic slowdown which we are listening right now, there will be limited access to VC fundings. With that, there will be lower budgets, there will be increasing competition. It would be difficult because it's so competitive. It would be difficult to acquire users. And even after you have acquired users, after paying a certain cost for that acquisition, it would be even difficult to retain that users, because 10 other competition products are available at a click of a button, and the user is kind of evolving. They will experiment with all these users. So these are the kind of challenges which the marketers have today in front of them. And I think, while we have discussed the strategies, while we have kind of figured out what are the things which are there, but how do we really ace this is, we kind of have certain things which are by default true with how the user will behave. And I think if we can clearly differentiate ourselves, say for example, if there are 15 companies in insurance tech, if ACO can really differentiate that, what does ACO stands for and why should one come to ACO and not go to any other player, that will really play a huge role. So distinguishing ourselves or differentiating our brand would be really the key to success. And how do we differentiate is with the help of the content marketing. We can focus a lot on how the user will behave on mobile. If we just go by the data pointers, on an average, any citizen spends around 4.5 hours on mobile these days. And earlier, back in 2000, if I see the attention span which we used to get from the user on mobile was around 12 seconds. Today, the attention span has reduced to 8 seconds. So as a marketer, you have only 8 seconds of time to kind of capture the attention of your user when they are on mobile devices. So it is extremely important the content you create, what they see should be so compelling that they click on it or they kind of act on the CTA, which we are mentioning. Engaging with the audience is yet another way. There are other ways how you have seen off late. There are a lot of fintech influencers who have emerged globally. And the good thing would be is, like I said in the past also, right? Somebody who has built your audience, go mine on them, right? So at times, if it's needed, get influencers to influence your brand for sure. And I think majority of problems get solved if we are very clear in our mind who we are selling to, who is our core TG, who's our core target audience, and what do they use. Go and target them at the platforms they are available, right? So say for example, if I'm targeting students in say the US market, I know they are available on TikTok. So why do I go and do email marketing? Why do I not go and target them on TikTok directly? Right? Not that I will not do email marketing, but as the first source, right? Target your users wherever they spend the maximum time, wherever they are present. So I think with this, I come to an end, and I would like to end it with this quote here: "Open for all questions." And I think I have not taken too much of a time, and I'm just at the time. Is that okay, Gautam? Can we take the
Yeah, I
questions?
was just changing the view. Great, awesome. No, it was a pleasure looking at the presentation. Really enjoyed it. I'll quickly jump onto the questions. Starting from Priyanka, she's asking, although creating great products is the first step towards a revolution in the industry, implementing the right financial technology marketing techniques is often a challenge in an increasingly crowded market. What is the right approach to educate customers about your product?
I think we have briefly covered it in the deck. There will be no right approach which will fit to all the categories for sure. I'll go back to that statement wherein I said that, you know, what you are solving. If you are solving that, right? If you know what you're solving for your customer, it will be easy to communicate, right? Once you know that this is the problem, this is what you're solving, do a little bit of storytelling, because your users may not get it straight, right? If you have to tell something, do it in a little bit of storytelling format, use more humanized elements. Say for example, let's take an example of a typical persona, right? You know, I say you're solving for digital payments, right? And every day I'm buying vegetables from a local vendor and I have to pay in cash. Now show this, like Darshika is there, Darshika is getting late for work, she doesn't have time to kind of buy things directly with this money. So what she has done, she has onboarded her vegetable vendor on a Google payment system, and now while she is on her cab, she can do that. So this whole storytelling of that vegetable, that Darshika going to office, getting late, right? People will resonate with this story, because not just me, majority of people will face this problem. So they'll just be able to use storytelling tactics and then communicate exact problem what you're solving. I think that'll help. I'll go ahead and do the next one. How do I convince user that my platform is secure? The one they can trust. This is typically the biggest problem. And like I said, it takes years to build that trust. But there are certain things, there are certain hacks which you can still use, right? Say, for example, you're an NBFC, which is approved by RBI, right? Majority all NBFCs which are there has to have a license from RBI, right? Go shout about that. Approved by RBI. RBI is a better renowned name than say a new NBFC, right? So have that whenever you're designing your marketing collateral. Write a bullet point or a patch there saying approved by RBI, right? Suppose you're doing some lending, say it's a credit card which is powered by MasterCard or a Visa. These are very big renowned names, right? Go voice it out, right? You know, your creative should talk about certain trust markers, or your company, your website, your mailers. Everywhere you should create standard trust markers. It could be approved by RBI, it would be this compliance, win some awards, write about those awards. These are the things which helps you gain trust and credibility over a period of time. You can write trusted by x million customers, join the tribe of, you know, x thousand customers who have already started trusting us. You know, use these markers to start. But this is not enough. People will not trust you even with these trust markers, but this is a good start. And I think trust will come do a lot of PR and strategy. Say, for example, you partner. Say, as a company, you've partnered to give the digital lending services to all Infosys employees. Say, your company partners with Infosys. Infosys is there since ages. If all Infosys customers are trusting you, okay, I still have that thing that I can trust you too. So figure out these strategies. It will be a mix of trust markers in your regular messaging. It could be also a lot of PR hacks. Be there in the media, so that when people read about you quite frequently, they will start trusting you. Like I also said, whenever you write a press release, also what you can do is say, X NBFC, approved by RBI or licensed by RBI. Use certain introductory marks which will set up a unique place in the minds of customers every now and then, so they will start trusting the brand. Can we go to the next question?
Sure.
What are the benefits of having a marketing strategy for growth of a fintech platform? I think, what are the benefits of having a marketing strategy? I mean, tell me, if you don't have a strategy, how would you do? It'll all be clueless, right? What to do, where to go about, from where to start and where to end. There'll be absolutely chaos in the minds, right? You've got a very good product, but you don't know how to structure things well from marketing perspective. So I would definitely recommend that, and for example, you will burn a lot of money if you don't have a strategy, right? Because uh, say, for example, if you don't have a strategy, you will spend on performance marketing, and then you will think, "Well, let's do a TV ad." Then you will think, okay, let's do a print ad. Okay, let's do this, that, everything. And then you realize, oh, this is not working because my customers are not resonating with this. So it's always better to have a strategy. Strategy can help you do a pilot with one messaging in a very small group, see what's working, do a lot of A/B testing, understand what are your users clicking the most, what are your users resonating the most, and then go ahead and kind of go big on those things. So if you don't have the strategy, you'll miss these pointers, you'll miss those A/B testing, you'll miss those exact thing for which your company stands for, because sometimes we feel that we stand for this, but our customer perceives it a little differently. So it makes sense to kind of have a strategy in place and then go big about your marketing. What is the ratio of online offline for marketing fintech products? I think they're a very good question. But like I said, if you go by traditional, say for example, what ICICI will do versus a new age startup will do. And ICICI can very well do 70-30. They'll spend 30% on digital, 70% on, say offline or non-digital activities, because they have that sort of a budget to go big, do all those TV commercials. But say, for example, a seed funded or a Series A startup, right? Can they go and take a TV advertisement? No. What is the option we have? We have to do very, very low budget activities. It will definitely start from digital performance marketing. And then eventually you will scale to certain YouTube campaigns and not TV again, only when you grow big. So you ask me what is the exact proportion. It will vary from which sector you are, which company, at what stage you are. And like I said, do whatever where your users are, right? So it'll all depend which industry you are. If I tell you 70-30, of course I know it from my banking gig, it was 70-30, but it may not apply now. So I think there's no standard answer. Just plan your marketing strategies thinking where your users are. That's all. Right. What should be the distinctive approach to understand users' requirement? Okay, how can you scale organically without pouring billions of advertisements? As a brand, how do we keep balance between upper and lower in the funnel activation while communicating? Okay, let's go ahead and quickly do this. So what's the distinctive approach to understand users' requirement? I'll give you a classic example. If I am solving for digital lending, right, there could be 3-4 things which my user can resonate. First is, my user doesn't want to stand at the bank queue, right? So I'm helping the user save time, right? Then, say for example, I'm also waiving off the processing fee. The other user can resonate more for no processing fee. First is, save your time taking a digital loan with this fintech. The other thing is, zero processing fee with this fintech. The third could be, you feel a little smart if you do something digitally, right? Feel more smart taking a digital loan than a loan with a traditional channel. Now, there are 3 different distinctive identities of your company, right? And how will you choose one? We feel all 3 have great resonance, right? So what I recommend is, to understand from the customer segment, you do a small ads, right? take your audience to do ads with all these three creatives. See which of these is the highest clicked, right? Or send, you have a user base, send three emailers, right? See which of these three have the highest opening rates, right? It will give you to some extent an idea that you are distinctive because of this quality of yours, right? So do it in that lens. Not just this, there'll be a tons of A/B testing and experiment, and rather a very strong conviction when you started, what was the value prop with which you started, because that will help you form your kind of unique value proposition in the market, and go big about it. How do we scale organically without pouring millions on advertisement? The very crisp short answer is do more of social media and content marketing. Of course, if you don't have leverage a lot of PR tactics which do not involve a lot of money, but your brand will get constant mentions. I have been doing it because my last 2 3 companies I've been working with Series A funded startup, and where of course we have to be very mindful of what we spend. So I have been leveraging the PR awards, events, these sort of communities quite closely. Focus more on creating a good referral thing for driving organic traffic. Word of mouth referral from the customers also act a huge driver. So in my current company, it's an international neo bank, and 70% of my acquisition last year happened through word of mouth only. So assume, I mean, this it is this powerful if you've cracked it, and it involves $0 because it's word of mouth. We then started incentivizing referral by giving them $10 to the referrer and referee each. So first you can, if you have a compelling product, and all you have to do is to just go and ask your users to refer more. Ask your users why they use you, and will they be okay, helping their colleagues, peers, friends, and family also with a similar product. As a brand, how do we keep a balance between upper end funnel while communicating with the world? Okay. So this is again very different. It would be very different to different industries. I would again say that. But let's take a classic example, right? If the problem is top of the funnel, right? If the problem is top of the funnel, do some offer centric things. Say, for example, sign up now and get, say, $100 bonus, right? This is a core thing for you to kind of activate more top of the funnel. Now, there'll be a lot of people who will come with the sign up code, but even then they will not convert, right? They will not convert. 100% of users will not convert towards the end of the product for, say, doing the first transaction with you. So then we have to understand that this user has come, but what then first could be your offer centric approach to have a very wide top of the funnel. Now we have to milk the bottom of the funnel from the same set of users. So what I recommend is you can then do certain very product centric nudges. Once the user is in the funnel, right? You should diversify your strategies. You cannot just bombard users every now and then with your messaging as well. So I would say use a mix of product centric strategies as well as a little bit of FOMO appeal. That if you're doing a sub offer, right? Say $100 you're giving to attract signups, and just like how the crypto guys advertised with all those huge celebrities, right? Start with 100 rupees only, and 100 rupees is in your wallet, crypto wallet. You can start investing in crypto. 100 rupees is on is free. So you go there, you download the app, but you still don't transact. Um, in that case, you should nudge again with something like, what is the benefit of investing in crypto? Why it is needed to diversify your portfolio? Why you should not always keep all your money in stocks? Crypto has given this much returns to this number of customers, right? These are all the pitches which is kind of going in the mind of consumers. Why crypto, right? Because you've already got the customer with $100. That incentive is already there. Once the customer moves in the middle of the funnel towards the bottom of the funnel for the last leg of conversion, I would say do again one small offer, which say convert today, or whatever the CTA would be, right? Do this action today. This offer expires in the next 24 hours, or this offer expires in the next 3 days, exclusively for you. These are the kind of language which you should use to kind of have your entire funnel sorted. That's all, I think.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Darshika. What a insightful session.
No, I
Just
think it was my pleasure. I mean, the questions, of course, also give you a lot of perspective what the people are thinking, and it also gives you a scope to kind of go back and relook at your strategies.
I agree.
Yeah.
But I would just want to end this note by saying such an insightful and engaging session and privileged to hear you. And thank you also to our leaders in the audience for joining us and for staying till the end and for always sharing excellent questions.
Thank you so much. Thank you everybody who attended it and who answered the question. Sorry, who asked the question. And it was a learning experience for me as well. And thank you so much to the entire BlueCircle team.
Thank you.
It
Bye
was
bye.
really a privilege. Thank you, Gautam. Bye bye. Bye everyone.